I'm just saying that's the kind of commitment you need to have to whatever you do in life. You know, you got to say, this is what I want. I'm going to go chase this. I'm going to go do this. And people can tell you that. In my high school reunion here, I'm celebrating 50 years of high school, and I'm sure underneath my picture where it stated things, the joke was he wants to be a DJ. Sure. He wants to be in radio, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
This guy's never going to be in radio. You know?
This is the Buffalo Community Podcast, all about the greatest small town in the USA, the people in it, and how it all works together. Here are your hosts, Tyler Reiss and Mark Benzer.
Joe Carlson for the Buffalo Community Podcast at KRWC Radio. Thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you, Tyler.
Yeah. Well, so, thank you, and apologies for the very amateur setup we've got here.
This is impressive.
This is not a radio station.
Yeah, this is impressive. And you asked me a question about my headset, right?
Yes.
You said, you've been in radio, don't you wear a headset? Usually I do if I want to hear music behind myself. I usually don't do a headset.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But one day I was down in Delano when Jesse Ventura was running for governor.
Sure.
And we were going to do a little interview, right? So I'm starting to interview Jesse, and he goes, "Where's my headset?" And I said, "You don't need a headset." He said, "What kind of Mickey Mouse operation is this?"
Is this even a real radio show?
Yeah, he kind of gave me so I'll put this on.
No, you don't have to.
I don't. Okay.
No, you,
all right.
No, you absolutely do not have to.
Okay.
So,
well,
all right.
I'm right up there with Jesse the Body, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, there's lots of stories that go back. I've been at KRWC about 40 years, and I know we have a plaque there, and Craft Country was nice enough to frame that for us. It's an old bumper sticker with Hi Neighbor. We're from Wright County, and that used to be a promotion that they had. I did run into a gentleman one time who said, and we're sharing our 50-year story on the air now, and so we did have him on a clip where he is, I think it was his mother, kept on answering the phone. Hi, neighbor. Hi, neighbor.
Okay.
And the one gal across the street was surprised. She goes, how does she know it's me? How does she? But she wasn't aware that the radio station was doing a promotion. So if you answered "Hi Neighbor," you'd get a special prize.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we've done a lot of fun events. We should mention Mother's Day. First time we've never used. Normally we do the drawings, registration slips, and it's all changed, okay? And obviously, you know that. The world is a different place. So this is all based on Facebook. Okay. So if you'll see a basket like this in one of the locations, it just says that they are one of the sponsors of it. We will have 3 gift baskets that are worth $500 each. And we will have a random drawing of everyone who submits to our Facebook page a picture of them and their mom, a selfie. We'll have that drawing on the 6th, and we'll announce our winner, I believe, on the 7th during TRADIO. So
perfect.
But that's that story. So now we can.
Is it the 9:30 TRADIO or the 4:30 TRADIO?
Well, Saturday we only do one.
Oh,
we only do the 9:30.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha. Big fan of TRADIO.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Actually,
yeah.
I'm a big fan too. What's the most unique thing that you've seen sell on TRADIO or best connection?
Well,
most memorable?
we had a guy from, and I don't believe he's with us anymore, but I was doing TRADIO on an afternoon session, and he called. It was on a Friday, and he said, "I don't know, but I'm looking for a woman." And so he goes, he wanted to meet her over at the Rassett store. Oh. Okay.
Certain kind of woman you can find at the Rassett store.
Well, whatever. I mean, so it's probably one of the most unique TRADIOs that I've had, but yeah, we've sold a lot of items on TRADIO, did a lot of things with that.
Did he make the connection?
I don't know if Otto was happy enough or not with it. But, I just thought that was kind of a memory of somebody using TRADIO to, not really how it was designed, but.
Well, hopefully he found what he was looking for.
Yeah.
You said you've been there for 40 years.
Yes,
The radio
1982.
The radio station's been around for 50 years.
Yeah, it came in 71. It was started to build the station in 69. And they were out selling the radio station before it was even built to get advertisers.
Sure.
So November of 71, we got the call from the FCC and saying, "Yep, you guys can go gone. You're legal." So
Yeah.
I believe they went on in the afternoon late, and maybe they were only on the air for at that time. In November, you were off the air almost by 5 o'clock because we were a daytimer.
Sure.
And you couldn't stay on past that time. So my guess, the first day, maybe they were on the air for 2 hours before they had to turn it off and come back the next day. But
Sure.
Yeah, that was big for Buffalo. I've heard a lot of buzz. You know, when the radio station came to town, a lot of people were excited to see a radio station in Buffalo, and you know, it has been a blessing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that's great. And if you notice the drummer, and you look at the date that the drummer started, it basically said when the radio station started.
Sure.
Because the drummer started in November of 71.
Sure.
And that's pretty much when the radio station went on the air. So my guess is that they decided that they wanted to do countywide circulation since the radio station said it's radio for Wright County. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
What was the driving force behind getting the radio station start? Who, I guess?
Well, Ted Appleby and Mary Appleby, I believe. Ted worked for KSTP in the cities.
Okay.
And he's the one that erected the station, put it together. Ted only had it for 5 years before the Woolenhouses came in. And they came in 76. And they built the new station in 81. The new building, the building that sits alongside it now was the old station at one time.
It looks old.
If you want to take a look, well, I did redo it about a year ago. I basically cut half the building off.
Okay.
And re-sided it and re-roofed it so that it works because it does house the tuning equipment for the antenna, so it is needed.
Okay.
So that's why we had to update that. But yeah, that building was put in 81, and that was a big thing for the station. I mean, it's the size of it and everything.
In a radio station, it's kind of like that. That's the epitome of like small town America, I think. I remember when I was in high school, and it was like, hey, we need to do an interview, you know, after it was Audie.
Sure.
I'm going to be on the radio. This is cool. You know, but I mean, it's just that small town connection. I mean, you know, we see the bus out there, every event out there, you know, the hula hoops, everything. People, it's recognizable. I mean, I think people would really miss it if you weren't at so many of those events throughout the year, and then providing that. And even the people, like when we're lucky enough to have, you know, Annandale just won the state championship, to be able to listen to that is pretty fantastic for people who can't get down there. And, you know, small town, Wright County, they don't get a lot of, you know, opportunity to be
Well, and again,
school.
there's 9 schools in Wright County, so there's plenty for us to cover. We are the only licensed radio station for Wright County. There's other stations that are outside the county that, you know, that obviously come into the county, but we're the only licensed radio station for Wright County. And, you know, talking about listening to sports, I'm not sure who the gentleman was, but back when Buffalo was at the basketball tournament, state tournament, I got an email from a guy. He says, "This is crazy. I'm out in the middle of the South Pacific listening to Bison basketball."
Oh, wow.
Because of the internet.
Yeah.
And I should mention now that we have a new app for Android and iPhones. This is brand new for us.
Yep.
And we at one time could not stream music because of copyright issues, but now that's kind of been ironed out. So we stream 24/7. Music, everything is on the web. So this is the new transistor radio. That's what I grew up with transistor radios.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody knows what a transistor radio is, but That's the new radio. It doesn't matter if you're in Mexico, like Buffalo Bob. I mean, I hear from Buffalo Bob all the time, and he's down there in Mexico, and he's listening and keeping track to what's going on locally. So it's really expanded the whole world, from when we started. And it's interesting. I got in radio when I was in like ninth grade. I went to WDGY, and Rob Sherwood was doing nights. Mm-hmm. And so I had to do my thing for my future career. What do I want to do? Well, I kind of did that, interviewed Rob, and this is what I want to do. I want to do radio,
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And Rob became a pretty good friend of mine. He was so good that KDWB basically stole them away from WDGY. So he started doing nights at KDWB.
Okay. And
when he did that, he was given, and I'm talking to Dennis Carpenter, who's got Bob FM, who knows Rob as well. Mm-hmm. He said that he never got the trip. He was supposed to get a worldwide trip as one of his perks to come to the station. Well, I guess Denny said it didn't happen. But but that summer when he did that, they came up with a promotion for Rob. So they came up with a K-Dune W buggy. So it was a dune buggy. And Rob would go around to all of the different beaches and areas, during the summer to show off the dune buggy and, meet with people, sign autographs and stuff. And he'd have me sitting in the back seat. So, we'd go up to people, and Rob, and he'd point to me, he's a character. I just found out that radio is really a fun thing. So I just got the bug. I said, this is what I've got to do. And I wasn't really, my voice quality wasn't what it should be for radio. I'm on the air type thing has never been my real strong suit. I'm blessed with really good people to do that. And Tim Matthews for sure. I mean, Tim's been with us almost 40 years like me. Yeah. And, those are blessings when you have those kinds of people, the Dave Larkhams and all of these people through the years that have helped us. And then again, that's kind of neat. But it's and I always kind of like to tell the story of when I started, because I wanted to do radio. Okay, I did. I wanted to, and I knew I wanted to sell radio. I didn't want to be on the radio anymore. I wanted to sell radio. So I went to marketing school to be a sales and marketing, to become a radio salesperson, right? So I'm taking this class, and I think 2 weeks into it, the instructor that we had left. So now I get new instructors, right? Which probably was a good thing. It was a learning experience because you get to learn with the new instructors. I think it gave me a better opportunity in school. And then I went to KSMM in Shakopee as an intern because I wanted to do an internship when I was in school. And I was listening to a tape of the 1982 Minnesota Broadcasters Association. And who was the keynote speaker? Don Woolenhouse and Pat Garvey from KRWC, right? And I was so impressed because Don was. I mean, he was a very, he was a good salesman, right? Right. So I told my teacher that I wanted to go down to WCCO and see if I could get an internship at CCO.
Sure.
So she goes, okay, go ahead. So I called Buck Buchanan, sales manager at CCO, nicest guy. Come on down. I went down and spent about a half hour with Buck. And we're talking about this and that. He goes, you know what? Midwest is out. Who owns CCO? He said, CBS is coming in. He said, I don't even know if I have a job. Yeah. So he said, I can't do anything for you, And I said, well, if I can't work for you, I want to work for Woolenhouse. He says, you want to work for Woolenhouse? So obviously he knew who Don Woolenhouse was. And I said, yeah. So he goes in his drawer and he gets his card, right? Yeah. And he goes, you call Don and tell him I would hire you if I could. I'm at Cloud 9, #1 station in the country. And I get that endorsement. I'm thinking, this is the shoe-in. So I call Mr. Woolenhouse. And you guys know Mr. Woolenhouse well enough. So when I call him, and I says, your friend Buck Buchanan told me to give you a call. He says, what does that son of a bitch want? Right? Yeah.
He needs something.
So he puts me right in my place, right?
Yeah.
And then I went to tell him that I wanted to sell radio. And he said he's not interested. I'm not interested. And I talked to him some more. He says, kid, you're wasting my time. You're wasting your time. I'm never going to hire you. I am not interested.
But if you can sell him.
So after a while, I said, well, I knew I wasn't getting anywhere. I said, well, can I talk to your sales manager, Pat Garvey? He goes, now you want to waste my time. Now you want to waste his time. He says, kid, don't you understand? I'm never going to hire you. I'm not interested. I only hire women 28 and over. That was his, and I says, you know what? I could outsell any woman on your sales staff. That's what I told him. Well, that really didn't mean anything. So he did give me Pat's number.
Sure.
And he basically left me with a comment of, look, kid, you want to sell radio, and I want to fly jet airplanes. Okay?
Wow.
So it's a real warm
This is going
reception,
really
right?
great.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not thinking, I call Garvey, get a hold of him. He sets up an appointment. So now we get to go see, as Mr. Weike would call him, Mr. Warmth. So we would meet in the office, and he was going to give me, well, first I had to take the personality test. So I went in the other room, took the personality test, bring that back to him. And he goes, well, he says, I'll give you Wyzetta, Long Lake, 100% commission. I said, well, Shakopee will hire me. I mean, they're offering me a job. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going down the stairs, and Garvey taps me. He goes, give me 1 week. Okay, because I said, I'm going back to Shakopee. I'm going to start there. He goes, no, give me 1 week. So he calls me back within that week. He says, hey, I got you the job, got you this, got you that, right? So, okay, so I go into the station my first day. I'm sitting at my desk, and Mr. Warmth, as Kurt always called him, comes behind me, and he says, look, kid, don't get too comfortable. You won't be here for more than 6 weeks. I mean, what a great thing to wake up to on your first day, right?
Yeah.
Well, 4 weeks later, I walk in, and Garvey is fired. His wife is fired. The salespeople are leaving, okay? Then Don comes down, and I can still see him in the doorway, and he looks at me and goes, well, kid, I suppose you're going to leave too. And my exact words to him that day was, look, I'm going to be one of the dumb ones, and I'm going to hang around.
Yeah.
And so it was Don, Nell, and I. That was what was left.
And you're like, well, by my watch, I've got 2 weeks left here, sir.
Well, all of a sudden, Woolenhouse would look at me and goes, Carlson, I can't figure you out. You know, I mean, so things worked well. I mean, it panned out, and it was fun. After I bought the station, I was at Hardee's at the time in Buffalo, and I was standing in the line. And Mr. Woolenhouse was in front of me, so I tapped him on the shoulder. And I asked him if he was flying jet airplanes yet. But he just said, shut up, Carlson, and that was the end of it. But, that's why you no matter what you do in life, and I do these senior interviews with the high school kids, and, I make time to talk with them and say, you've got to really chase it.
Yeah.
You go talk to people that are doing what you're doing.
You're going to hear a lot of no's in life,
do that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other story, in 1986, when Kurt bought the radio station from Woolenhouse, at that time, Terry Train was doing mornings at KRWC. And when she found out that Tim was coming back to be program director, she was a little upset because she wanted to know, why can't I be program director, right?
Yeah.
So we're sitting in the production room, and she's, telling me, I says, Terry, nothing you can do. But I said, let me ask you this. Of any station you want to work for, who would you want to work for? And she'd go, I want to work for KQ. I said, pick up the phone and call them. No. And I said, what do you got to lose, right?
Yeah, you already don't have a job there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not the job you want.
Yeah.
And I think she had a relative, I think, that worked at KQ as well. So I'm not saying I'm the reason she went to KQ. Right. But I'm just saying that's the kind of commitment you need to have to whatever you do in life. You know, you got to say, this is what I want. I'm going to go chase this. I'm going to go do this. And people can tell you that, you know, in my high school reunion here, I'm celebrating 50 years of high school. And I'm sure underneath my picture where it stated things, you know, the joke was he wants to be a DJ.
Sure.
He wants to be in radio, right?
Yeah.
This guy's never going to be in radio. You know? And it's funny too when I get to KRWC in 1982, doing mornings was Chapman, who was in my homeroom at my high school.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's on the radio, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny how things happen. But no, KRWC has been a real blessing.
Yeah.
It has. And we've had a lot of fun. You mentioned the bus.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't had the bus now for about 5 years. So you know how big of a thing the bus was. People still remember it. But it has not been around for 5 years. I had it for 16 of my years.
Was there a van then that I see?
Yep. There's a van.
Okay.
But
I'm always picturing bus though.
Yeah, but I started with the school bus.
Yeah. Yep. The blue and white school bus.
We bought the school bus. We painted it every year. And
always looks fresh.
Well, and it finally got to the point where the floorboard was rusted out. The brakes weren't working too well.
Other than that,
it was shiny. It got about 8 miles to the gallon, so you probably wouldn't want to be driving it this summer.
Ooh, no.
But no, it was a good move at the time to get the station out there because, you know, when Woolenhouse had the station, there was never a van, no vehicle at all. So I know when Kurt came into the picture, a guy called on TRADIO. He had a blue van for sale, a conversion van.
Yeah.
So Kurt says, we're buying it. So that was the first van, but really the only markings on that van was a round circle KRWC. I mean, it wasn't marked up. I said, when I buy a van, it's going to have that KRWC logo, Radio for Wright County, huge on it, because people need to know we're out and about. So,
right.
That original van would be a cool piece of history over in the Wright County Museum or something.
Yeah, the bus.
Track it down somewhere.
Well, the bus went out to French Lake Auto Parts, so that one got crushed.
No, maybe we'll go find it.
I'm thinking maybe a refrigerator or something has a piece of it. I'm not sure what what the metal went to, but that got crushed. And the second van I had, or when Kurt had it, he had the big white van with the antenna on it.
Yeah. Because
at that time we did remotes by Marty, which is a small FM transmitter. So you had to have a big antenna to get the Marty signal because we only put out a 1 watt signal, or I think it was maybe it's a 20, 30 watt. No, 40 watt maybe it is. But it's still, you got to have a really excellent antenna system to talk.
Sure. Do you think with the development of the internet, because I mean it's the last 20 or 40 years, incredibly.
Oh yeah.
Do you think like AM radio will leave?
I think radio will leave.
Sure.
Okay.
And it'll all be
I think it's all going to come, it's going to come on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not that the antenna is going to go away, but it's going to be less important, which is a good thing for us. We're a small AM radio station, probably one of the smaller ones in the state.
Yeah.
You know, we're 500 watts.
But if you
most stations are 1,000 watts, so you take a look at the coverage.
Yeah.
You know, before this, as far as the internet, you know, we had 27 watts at night. Well, we really didn't do sports.
Right.
Sure.
Because nobody could really listen to it.
Yep.
You're like, we can hear the announcer from the stadium from here.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But now the internet has changed that.
Sure.
Yep.
So, and I think, you know, if you ask kids if they go out and buy a radio, most kids don't even know what a radio is unless it's in their car.
Sure. Is that extra button? You know,
Yeah.
My phone connects to my car and I just listen to Apple Play.
Right.
You know, so.
But I mean, even, you know, going out and buying a radio, you know, you go to Best Buy or those kinds of places.
Sure.
You don't really they don't really have radios anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
They don't know what it's like to dial that thing in so that you can get just
no,
Radio for Wright County.
no. But the nice thing with us and doing the internet and doing what we're doing, we're already an established radio station.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we do have listeners. I mean, our coverage during the day when we're at 500 watts, and it's unbelievable because back, when I started and I talked to other people with 1,000 watts or, stations, they said, we cannot believe how far what it goes. But most people don't understand that an AM radio antenna is in the ground. It's not. I mean, you have to have the matching antenna.
Yep.
But the most important part is the ground conductivity that you are on. And luckily up there in Chatham Township on the hill, we've got really good ground.
Yeah, sure. I did know that because I mowed the grass out there one year.
Did you?
And they say, hey, careful. That's I learned that, and I was like, oh.
Don't be digging
Okay.
out here,
Yeah, it's
okay?
like, knock it off, Tyler.
Don't bring the big tractor out.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Joe, I think people who are familiar with KRWC are familiar with Tim Matthews and Dave Larkham.
Yep.
But, we've had Jamie Broman on here.
Yep.
You got a good team of people there at
Very
the radio
good team.
station. Why don't you
Adi Otna's
Yeah.
Adi's been doing wrestling. When was that you were wrestling, Tyler?
That was in 2005.
Yep.
So that was a while ago. And
Yep.
yeah, it was fun.
And Adi, again, another blessing. He loves to do wrestling. He does a great job.
Yep.
And again, I am just so fortunate to have people. Ron Larson, who comes in, does the road shows for me and has done it I think he's been working on it for me for over, 15 years. It's hard to say how fast time goes, but I think it's been about 15 years. Again, he drives his bus during the day, and on the weekends, Sundays, he does his show and he comes out and does the road shows and helps with Culver's Cruise Nights, which, by the way, is this airs on Wednesday the 4th, which is tonight.
Yeah,
Our first Culver's Cruise Night. So come on out to Monticello and experience it.
That was good. That was good math right there. 'Cause we always have to build that timeline with our guests.
We got that. And Jake and Ron will be out at the Monticello Culvers. We're excited because we have a new sound system this year that has Bluetooth speakers. So instead of being back at the van running the computer like we have done for a couple of years before we had to do CD players, he will be running it off of his tablet.
Yeah.
So everything comes off of the tablet, goes into the speaker, and then the two wireless mics. So we're looking forward to that tonight. We're gonna introduce that. We'll see if we have any technical issues, but
very fun.
And
should
hopefully
be a good time.
About 75 and sunny.
Yeah. Oh, wouldn't that be great?
I'm hoping.
Of course it is. I mean, didn't you walk in this morning?
Right.
Yeah, hopefully we have good weather.
Yeah.
If it rains, it kind of is a problem because guys don't like to bring out their cars. We have had a session where it was snowing a little bit, and that was kind of weird. But again, that's back, and we are happy to say that we will be back in Buffalo this year as well. We did not do Buffalo last year, but we will be in Buffalo the third Thursday of the month doing Cruise Night. And again, we'll be back at Albertville, and that'll be the last Wednesday of the month. So looking forward to that. We got about 20 or 25 different places we've got to be during the time.
It's good to be busy.
It is. And again, this weekend is the Delano Expo. So we will be at the Delano Expo. There's also a special expo at the Civic Center that is happening with homemade gifts. And we'll be doing a YouTube or Facebook Live from out there. Again, that's something else that we're going to be doing more and more of is our Facebook Live cuts.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing more of those things. So not only with the audio, but now with the visuals.
Yeah. We tried that one time to do a live one, and the internet at work was not sufficient.
Not good.
And it was just like, hey, we're having a great time, and then all of a sudden you see people like I get a text like, you guys are cutting in and out. Like I'm getting every maybe fifth word or something.
Yeah.
So you can see us, but you can't hear us. And it was like, that's something, maybe a live show eventually.
Well, we're all happy now because the county is going to invest a lot of money, $8 million or $10 million on
fiber,
broadband and stuff in the county. A lot of wireless companies are coming. I had a guy come to the station who wanted to put up a dish on or a system up on my tower.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. I mean, I remember back in '98 when the internet was in its very infancy. Because the only thing there was dial-up.
Yeah.
And if you think about slow speed,
and you had to go get your CD with the 600 free hours at AOL.com.
Yeah, there you go. You remember those days?
Oh yeah. Very fun.
Yeah, it's crazy. The technology is just unbelievable what we've come through. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's already been 40 years for me here. 25 years of ownership.
Just blink and it's there.
Well,
it is.
Lots of stuff coming up.
It
Rolling
is.
into Northstar
It
League
is.
baseball in the summer, and that's always fun. And
21 games this year. We will be the only station doing Northstar games.
Yeah.
I believe the other station that usually did it is going to maybe dedicate themselves to a different league.
Sure.
Okay. So we have 21 games. If you go to northstarleague.org, which is the site, their website, you can see our schedule up there as well as on ours. So we're excited to get baseball going.
Yeah.
And talking baseball, we had the Twins, a couple of years.
Yep.
That was back when CCO dropped the Minnesota Twins, and it went to KSTP AM, which has a nice signal, but not really in Wright County.
Yeah.
So the Twins called KRWC and said, you know what, we want to put Twins baseball on your radio station.
And you're like,
and
okay.
Okay. Yeah, so we did that for 3 years. I think for us, it takes up so much airtime that it's really too much for our station because we don't get enough local stuff. We have Northstar games, and we ran into problems with those. And
sure.
And there's enough places. And now that CCO is back with the Twins, and Twins are on the internet and everything else, it's pretty well. But we do have a Gopher basketball, Gopher football on KRWC.
Yeah.
The other thing we have is NASCAR races, which I don't believe there's another station in the cities that has a NASCAR. So if you're into NASCAR racing, tune in for that. Again, it's on the stream. So
awesome,
very fun.
Well, great, Joe.
So thank you guys for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the swag.
Get your hats on.
Absolutely,
here.
You got to make sure.
I got to take these earphones, headphones.
My
off
one
now.
Get the
size
headphones
fits all.
off. There they go.
There.
All right. We'll see you guys this summer.
Absolutely.
In our hats.
Yep. For the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler Reiss.
I'm Mark Benzer.
And I'm Joe Carlson.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Buffalo Community Podcast, produced by Edlund Media. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts.